Hey guys, you know what it is. It is Football Saturday, and we are going to round off today's action with Tottenham hosting Liverpool in a game that was full of red cards, disallowed goals, and an own goal that ultimately decided this game in the favor of Tottenham. But hey, my name is Izzy, and if you're new to this content, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button to let YouTube and let everybody else know that you are enjoying this content. But let's get to the action. Tottenham were hosting Liverpool in a game that was billed as a potential top four preview into who is more suited to try and challenge Arsenal or Manchester City, potentially for top four and the title. Liverpool started this game as the better of the two sides. They had a number of very good chances, which Vicario, the Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeper, was able to turn away. Tottenham looked as though they were trying to feel Liverpool out and trying to gauge which formation Liverpool are trying to play under. And they were trying to push their forwards and condense Liverpool's play in midfield. However, Liverpool were able to break that press, and they started off the brighter of the two with a host of chances, which meant that Tottenham were pushed back and did not have the ability to play the free-flowing football that we've seen recently. But that was brought to a halt when Curtis Jones received a red card for a challenge that was a 50-50 against Steve Bissouma, but unfortunately his leg rolled over the ball and he caught Yves Bissouma straight in the shin. Now, I was watching Sky Sports, and Gary Neville was of the opinion that this should have been no more than a yellow card. In my opinion, I think it was a straight red, because no matter how you tried to sugarcoat it, he was endangering Yves Bissouma. And if it ended up being a leg break, because it was his standing leg, it still would have ended up being a red card regardless of his intention. Now, there is precedent for this. I do remember Edison getting hit in the face by Mane in a 50-50 aerial challenge when Mane planted his studs in his face. And while Gary Neville seemed to have some sympathy for Mane at that point, again, because it was going to theoretically ruin a high-octane game, it was still the right decision. Now, if you disagree, let me know down below. Liverpool's bad day was not made much easier a little bit later because Luis Diaz had a perfectly good goal chalked off for offside. Now, when the stills were first ran on the TV, it did look as though he was onside. He had a player that was closest to the camera still playing him on. And we have talked a lot about VAR and the fact that the technology is out there to help the officials, but when the officials are not able to use the technology to their advantage in such obvious situations, it makes you question their competence. And we've seen this in games like Manchester United's game against Wolves. We saw it a couple of times last season when Arsenal took on Newcastle or when Arsenal took on Brentford. And so you have to question why they keep on giving us these apologies at the end of these games when Liverpool were robbed of a clean and clear goal. Liverpool did still show us their mettle, and they still kept on trying to attack Tottenham, and they were duly rewarded with a goal from Cody Gakpo right before halftime. Liverpool still have a very good way of staying in these games, and we've seen them go down to 10 men before against Newcastle. They went down to 10 men against Bournemouth, and they still won those games. The Bournemouth game was a little less strenuous on the team than the Newcastle game, which was a very gutsy performance and a very opportunistic way of winning the game with two late Nunes goals. But Tottenham were always going to be a tougher proposition than Bournemouth. Unfortunately, Gakpo had to go off with an injury, and that just seems to compound what Liverpool were going through during the day. And it was made much, much worse after the second half when Diogo Jota needlessly got a second yellow card, and then he got his marching orders. And that just made Liverpool's game untenable at that point. The best they could do was to try and hold on for a draw. And for the next 20 minutes, they actually did very well. They managed to defend in numbers, and they even, in the odd occasion, happened to counterattack Tottenham. Tottenham did not seem to know exactly how to deal with the 9 men of Liverpool, whether it was the fact that Liverpool were compact enough to dissuade the Tottenham players from trying to fully attack them. It wasn't until the last 5 or so minutes that Tottenham decided to throw everything forward. Liverpool were still very, very good in defense. And it came to pass, unfortunately, that an own goal ended up deciding this game when a cross from the right-hand side was turned into his own net by Joel Matip. Liverpool were very good in this game, defensively and offensively, and even despite all of the trials and tribulations they faced in this game, I think they can hold their heads up very high coming off of this game, because the game could have easily ended up 1-1 if it wasn't for the unfortunate incident that saw Matip turn the ball into his own net. As far as Tottenham, they do get a win against a bogey opponent. They haven't beaten Liverpool since 2017, so they have a lot to be happy about. And they are now second in the table, only a point behind Manchester City, and they are above their city rivals Arsenal. So there's a lot of things to be positive about on both sides. Tottenham did not really press the issue as much as you would expect them to against 9 men of Liverpool, but they still got the win. And on the other side, Liverpool, despite losing right at the end, can hold their heads up very high with the fact that they played against 11 men, with them only having 9 for the vast majority of about 25 minutes, and they still defended very well and resolutely. So that's what I have for this game, guys. Let me know what you think. What do you think about VAR and the improvements that need to be made to it? Because this is not about the technology. This is about the officiating that is right behind the technology. It's been your boy Izzy, and until the next one, peace.